All right. Okay. Howdy, everyone. Happy Monday. Me. Back at it again. Getting a little bit better at this, I guess. Also, kind of not, but welcome back. Today, I was going to try something a slight bit different, so this might be trash, like their other two videos, but who cares? We'll try it out. I was going to react to a video that I saw on YouTube. Well, I didn't even see it. I saw the thumbnail, and it sort of interested me. Let's see. That ain't it. There we go. I'm getting used to my little keys. So we're reacting to this video called You Don't Understand How Strong Mihawk Truly Is by... Oh, wait, how can I... Oh, it's actually shown on the screen. By Kaio Crimson. I'll link it in the description, too. Check them out. I already gave it a like before I watched it, but if I like the video, I'll subscribe. But the Mihawk conversation is one that I am particularly interested in because, as you may or may not know, I am part of the crew who obviously understands that Mihawk is one of the strongest characters in One Piece. He's obviously stronger than Shanks, and I don't know why people keep downplaying him, but let's see what this person is talking about. This says, you don't understand how strong Mihawk truly is. Void Century level. Let's give it a watch. Let's see what it's talking about.
And let's just get right into this. So, Dracula Mihawk. Just how strong is he? The first half of this video will be me discussing just what does it mean to be the strongest swordsman, which is going to be so controversial, and the second part of this video will be me going over Mihawk versus other characters and where I think he lies in the top 10 strongest. So
top 10 strongest. Real quick, let me just state, I think a top 10 strongest list in One Piece is very subjective because everybody is extremely variable in terms of strength. In One Piece, it kind of depends on the situation, how much a character wants to win the situation, how much ambition they have, things like that. It's why a Luffy can overcome a crocodile in that situation, things like that. So making your top 10 list, for the most part, is subjective. There are some things I think specifically have to be defined. For instance, I think if you rank Mihawk lower than Shanks, you're just a part of the agenda. I ain't gonna lie to you. But I'll watch this video and I guess we'll watch this and we'll see what he has to say and then I'll comment on that later. But let's see.
First things first, Mihawk is titled as the strongest swordsman, and this is made more clear in the Viva records, which granted are pretty dated and these do get corrected by more modern day info, so take the more recent info as more factual than this info, since this does come from more than even 4 years ago. In the Viva record it says, Mihawk, he is the world's strongest swordsman who sits atop as the strongest of all swordsmen.
Alright. He sits as the strongest swordsman who sits... Oh wait, I'm sorry. He is the world's strongest swordsman who sits at the top as the strongest of all swordsmen. Now, I know a lot of people, I don't know if he's going to do it. I know a lot of people try to act like not everyone with a sword is a swordsman. I don't know how you come to that conclusion, but this is a very powerful statement.
Which is very interesting when you consider there's many characters who use swords, such as Big Mom and mainly Shanks, right?
There we go.
That's going to be the real toxic part of the discussion here. It said that Mihawk trained relentlessly for many years, challenging more and more powerful foes until he had no more worthy challenges. Which again, does tie into Shanks, since later on it says that he looks forward to the day that a swordsman will emerge to surpass even his rival, Red-Head Shanks. And it's confirmed that he has armament and observation haki, but of course we know that he has Conqueror's haki, since if Zoro has Conqueror's haki and his ambition is to become the strongest, well, it makes sense that someone far stronger than him, Mihawk, would have Conqueror's haki, and I do believe that he very likely has advanced Conqueror's haki on.
Thank you. That's obvious. Thank you. I've heard so many people try and deny that fact, and it's like, I don't understand how you can think anyone. Never mind. All right, this is obvious.
Top of that. This is just my assumption. If you don't agree with that, that's fair enough, since it's nothing that's ever been confirmed as far as I know. But I do believe he has Conqueror's haki, and of course, advanced Conqueror's haki. If Zoro has it, then most likely Mihawk has it as well, as the strongest of all swordsmen. Now, in particular, to discuss the title of the greatest swordsman in the world, I will have to talk about Shanks, which I know is supposed to be something that I do in the second part of the video, and I will, as well as other characters such as Mihawk versus Kaido or Mihawk versus Luffy, right? Those are very interesting matchups, but Shanks is very important because every single time you mention either Mihawk or Shanks, who is really the strongest, you'll always get the other one brought up immediately. by anybody in the fan base, of course.
Sure
and it
will.
doesn't matter who you say. Let's say you think Shanks is stronger or Mihawk is stronger, you're going to get someone adamantly saying that the other person is much stronger. It seems that there are two sides to this fan base, and people have really dug deep into both of them. And one thing you should know is that, yes, I do believe that Shanks is the strongest character in the series. I think the only characters who may...
I guess we disagree. And let me do this real quick. The reason why I disagree with that is because... Did I just backtrack? The reason I disagree with that is because if Shanks got famous or got his name out by dueling with Mihawk, personally, I believe that they were having duels on equal footing. I don't think either of them were stronger than the other because neither of them have been stated to win or lost. As a matter of fact, in the English dub, which is a mistranslation, Mihawk says, when Mihawk pulls up on Shanks to give him the wanted poster of Luffy, Mihawk says, I'm not looking to settle the score with a one-armed swordsman, right? Settle the score. I don't see how they can say that, because if the score is Shanks is up, then how would Mihawk have the title of the strongest swordsman? I'm pretty sure Mihawk wasn't out there boxing with Shanks. I don't understand how you could think the person who's losing the duel gets the title. It's pretty easy to conclude that either Mihawk won or they were on equal footing and vying for who would be the strongest. And then when Shanks lost his arm, Mihawk lost all. He said, bro, I'll just win now. This isn't a fair fight. Now, the thing about it is, people who think Shanks is stronger go off his hockey feats that have been displayed. But to be honest, that's because Shanks has had to be in these situations and do these feats. When he had to destroy Kid in that one shot, right? Divine Departure. Mihawk would have never been in that situation to have to do that. Well, I'm not going to say he would have never, but he's just not in that situation. No one's pulling up on him because he's not an emperor or a Yonko or anything. He has no ambition to be the pirate king. So he doesn't need to have a feat of one-shotting someone who's coming after him because no one's coming after him besides Zoro. When we talk about the hockey feat with Green Bull, the reason why we don't see anything like that from Mihawk is because Mihawk would never have to do that. Mihawk would just pull up on him with a sword, but again, Mihawk wouldn't pull up on an admiral to stop him from taking over Wano because he doesn't care about that. These feats are sort of like it's like this. Let me put it this way. It's like if we were talking about Dragon Ball, right? It's like someone saying Goku can't blow up the Earth because he's never done it. So we never seen him do it, so he can't. It's like, bro, I guarantee you we will see high-level feats towards the end of this series, right? That will display this with a lot of these characters, with Mihawk, with Dragon, with, the admirals. We still have not seen Kizaru try at all. Personally, I rank Kizaru in top 10 as well. Like he's up there. I think a Kizaru that goes all out, a Kizaru with the mentality of like a Blackbeard or honestly like a Zoro, like with that mentality of winning, would probably just destroy everybody. I don't know who could really stop him besides like a Kaido or a Roger or and I know I get this. I know we've seen the movie. I know he constantly gets pressed by regular people and he's just like, whatever. But that's because Kizaru he does not care about the agenda as much as most people. Every line he gives is a sarcastic, I'm losing the plot. But we can talk about that later. Right now, we're talking about this Shanks versus Mihawk thing, and besides liking Shanks more, I don't understand how you could think he's stronger based on feats alone. Based on feats alone? Let's do this parallel real quick. Do we remember when Shanks pulled up on Whitebeard's crew? I do. His hockey was active. He told Whitebeard said to him, "You little punk, showing up on my ship with your hockey just going loose." And Shanks said, well, when I'm on enemy ships, I'm uneasy. You know what else Shanks did? He said, "I brought you medicine, the best booze." No, he brought wine, didn't he? I don't know if he called it booze, but he brought wine. He brought a gift for Whitebeard. And he had his hockey prop. He was uneasy on Whitebeard's ship, on old, sick Whitebeard's ship. Do you remember what happened when Mihawk pulled up on Shanks? He had to talk Shanks' crew down and say, "Hey, it's cool. I'm not here to kill y'all. Where's your captain? I just want to talk to him." Shanks, being hungover at the time, says, "I'm not in a good mood. Are you looking for a fight?" Now, this is the thing that is significant. In the dub, they change it to he's not looking to settle the score, right? But in the original, version and in the sub, he actually says, "I'm not going to settle for fighting you with one arm." Not, "I'm not looking to settle the score. I'm not looking to settle for fighting you in this state." He's saying that you're handicapped, bro. I'm not looking to fight a handicapped dude. You're and this plays into a lot of the other things too. A lot of the other moments that happen, sort of like at Marineford when they say he was afraid to fight Shanks so he left. It's like, no, Shanks and Mihawk have a good relationship. Like, they're on good terms. He showed up to Marineford because that was his duty. That was his obligation, right? Whitebeard was a potential threat, so he was there just in case, right? Just in case, to keep that in check. He's not there to go and fight red-haired Shanks for them just because he's a thorn in their side. He has no beef with red-haired Shanks. He's not going to be a tool to fight somebody that he actually respects to a certain degree, right? But I understand agendas. We're going to turn that into he's afraid of them. He has never shown fear to anybody. And as a matter of fact, if we think about another feat from Marineford, Luffy pulled up on damn near every single person that he could at Marineford. The only one he was afraid to approach and couldn't was Mihawk, because he saw absolutely no chance of a future past it. But we'll continue the video.
There are two terms for rival. The noun is a person or thing competing with another for the same objective or for superiority in the same field of activity. Or we have the verb, where a rival is to be or seem to be equal or comparable to. I think that maybe in the past, he was his rival when Shanks used to have two arms, as we see that Mihawk said, "Because you lost one of your arms, I no longer deem you as worthy." It really doesn't matter how strong Shanks is, he doesn't deem him worthy because he's missing an arm, and he wouldn't want to fight someone like that. I think this is what it means that Mihawk no longer has any worthy challenges. He doesn't deem Shanks as worthy, not because of his strength, but I think he deems him unworthy because of his arm. And this is something that was clearly said the first time that we see Mihawk meet Shanks. And now I will get you text from the Japanese itself, and this is from @SandmanAP, who is a very well respected and known translator in the One Piece community. He says, directing this line straight from the Japanese, Shanks asks if Mihawk visits him to fight despite Shanks being in a bad mood due to being drunk. Mihawk replies he has no intention anymore to fight Shanks and decide who is stronger between him and Shanks because Shanks has become one-armed. So right here, right now, that is why he doesn't deem Shanks as worthy. It is not due to his strength. And not only that, but you could also argue that...
Whoa. We can't say that it's not due to his strength, because if you're a one-armed swordsman, you're not as strong as you are with two arms. I don't know how you could possibly come up with the idea that you would lose your arm and be the same amount of strength that you are with said arm. Like that, that's a leap. That is a faithful, hopeful leap of logic that I don't think you could make if you're really not biased. I honestly don't. I don't think anybody could really truthfully say, yeah, he's not weaker with one arm. Even though he was fighting me with two arms, now he has one, he's not weaker. He's the same. Matter of fact, he's stronger now with one arm. Like, bro, calm down. No. Not a chance.
Two meanings. Either A, Mihawk believes that him and Shanks are comparable at the very least, or similar in terms of power level, in terms of how strength they are, which is the verb definition. But you could also go back to the noun definition of a rival. What they could have been competing for in the past is the title of the greatest swordsman, which specifically, it seems like with the new information which is presented to us, seems to be in regards to sword skill. Even though it's said that he is the strongest swordsman of...
Wait. So they call him the strongest swordsman. They're competing for the title. But you're now saying that it's just about skill? How can you be the most skilled swordsman and not lose to someone more powerful than you, get the title of world's strongest swordsman, and still be weaker than the person that you're more skilled in and more powerful than and stronger than, given the time. Never mind. This is just I see what this video is.
He's very powerful. That's why he gets that title. It does seem like the reason he's over Shanks is because of his level of skill with the sword, and this is probably why he can no longer deem Shanks as worthy. It could be possible that there are certain skills that you can do with the sword that you can only do with 2 hands. With this, I will admit that's just me guessing and theorizing. It does make
Fair
sense,
enough.
since we've seen that for certain swordsmanship techniques with Zoro and even with Mihawk himself, some of them do require 2 hands, where yes, they can do it with 1 hand, but certain techniques require 2. So maybe that's why Shanks would never achieve a greater level of skill than Mihawk, because he's just missing that one arm. Even if you don't agree with that, in my own opinion, I think the reason that Mihawk has the title of the strongest swordsman is simply because he is the most skilled swordsman. Being more skilled than someone does not mean that you're stronger than them. For example,
No. He just said that in reverse. I disagree. He said being more skilled than someone doesn't mean you're more stronger than them, but his title isn't the world's most skilled swordsman. It's the world's strongest. You're trying to turn it into he's the most skilled instead of the strongest. You can't take you have it on the screen, brother. You can't take that title, turn it into what you want, and then say it doesn't apply to what the title actually says because of the version of it that you want it to be. That's honestly headcanon.
And this is just me saying this, I could be wrong, so if you disagree, that's okay, but I personally believe that just...
See, yeah, this person has a very good, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just subscribe now. I want to see more videos by them. This person has a very good mentality. Because even I, you know what I'm saying, when I argue about certain things when it comes to like power scaling or verses or things like that, I often leave a little bit of room for whatever. But on certain things like this, it's like, bro, I can't really agree with you on saying the world's strongest swordsman is only the world's most skilled swordsman and not the most strongest because I want him to be the most skilled. You know what I mean? Like that's not...
devil fruits and all that stuff. I believe that Zoro, after the time skip from that moment, is possibly more skilled than Big Mom, just in terms of pure swordsmanship. Does that mean Zoro would beat Big Mom in a fight straight out of the time skip? No. I think Zoro would lose either low or no diff. He would get...
Wait. Big Mom... Wait. A more skilled swordsman than Big Mom. Oh, okay, never mind. He's going off of the skilled thing that he came up with. I got you.
Out of the time skip, fresh out of the oven. However, does that mean that Big Mom has more skill with the sword compared to Zoro? No, because there are certain things with the sword that only Zoro can do. There are certain things that only he knows about. And that's what I take by the panel where it says, Mihawk, who has greater sword skill than Shanks. If Mihawk was stronger than Shanks, I truly believe it would have just flat out been said, Mihawk, the person who's stronger than Shanks, the strongest swordsman in the world. But no, it was specifically clarified that Mihawk, the person who has greater sword skill than Shanks. That detail is added for a reason, and I don't understand why people choose to ignore that exact line that Oda added for a reason. Like I said, if
because it's because in the line right after it, it doubles down on the title. Can I go back to that? It doubles down. It says Hawkeye's Mihawk, former warlord of the sea, with greater sword skill than even red hair, the Emperor, right? And it's saying that because a warlord doesn't have a higher rank than Emperor. As the strongest swordsman in the world, it says he's more skilled than red hair and then says he's the strongest. So it's like you can't separate those two, my brother. You can't. That's why people ignore it.
Would have just said so. They wouldn't have...
Well, not ignore it, but...
line to clarify, it's only in terms of swordsmanship. So that's why I think Mihawk is the strongest swordsman in the world. I think he has the greatest skill of the sword, but on top of that, he's also someone who's disgustingly powerful. And this is where I'll talk about the second part of the video. Just how strong is Mihawk, and then I'll compare him to other characters. In terms of his level of strength, I think the fact that he's been compared to Shanks so often, and given his balance...
Bro has no scars.
Just a raw strength more than anything, I think Mihawk is stronger than any admiral bar Akainu. Akainu is one of those characters who I've got being super high tier.
You know what? I agree. I agree with that. I think Mihawk is stronger than every admiral besides Akainu. I agree. Yep, absolutely. I scale Akainu very, very high.
know that about me. I really tend to glaze Akainu. I really like Akainu, so ignoring him because, you know, he did beat an admiral in one-on-one combat. He beat Aokiji, so I think he's stronger than an admiral, and since then he's only gotten stronger, at least that's what I think, since 2 years have passed since then. And it's also possible that he may have awakened Conqueror's Haki since he's taken the position as the leader of all Marines, since Sengoku, who was the previous fleet admiral, the leader of all Marines, had Conqueror's Haki. Granted, that is just a pure speculation and theory. It's not confirmed, and it's something that could or couldn't be true. So if you disagree, completely fine. But borrowing Akainu for my own reasons, because I really like him, I think honestly Mihawk can be any admiral in one-on-one combat, either past or present. I just think
agree
that Shanks is so unbelievably powerful that Shanks could end the war alone, that he has so much clout and respect.
And this, I gotta disagree with that real quick. I'm so sick of this Shanks ended the war agenda lie. Can we go back and reread Marineford, everybody? When Shanks arrived, right, who was still fighting? Kobe had just got done begging Akainu to stop beating everyone up so that they could just retreat. And Blackbeard was currently fighting Sengoku. Garp was about to jump in. And the admirals, after failing to capture Luffy because Shanks had just showed up, were just hanging out at the dock. I don't know what they were doing for that last bit. They just started not doing anything. But basically, and from my purview, the only people left fighting were Blackbeard and Sengoku. That was the only part. Like, he stopped that, but that's not a feat that anyone cares about. All he did was save Blackbeard, because Blackbeard was about to get jumped. Also, keynote, Blackbeard wasn't scared of Shanks. He was scared of getting jumped by every single person there because he had no allies there besides his crew. Like, everyone there would have just jumped him. The Marines would not have just sat there and let the red-haired pirates and Blackbeard and his crew just 1v1 at their base. They would have jumped the fuck out of Blackbeard because he was attempting to destroy it with the Quake fruit, right? So yeah, Blackbeard running away from that wasn't scared of Shanks. He was just smart. But yeah, Shanks, that whole Shanks stopped the war, bro. Half the people had already escaped. Ace was dead. Whitebeard was dead. Luffy got out and he escaped into the water. Bro, it was already over with. I'm sick of that feat. I don't give that to him, bro.
How he one-shot Kid. I don't believe Big Mom or Kaido could do that to Kid. Now, granted, there are a lot of arguments saying, well, Kid was never hit by Kaido.
I think Kaido could do that. I definitely think Kaido could do that.
There was Kid's explosion, which blew up in his face, and people argue that that may have damaged him, but I really tend to believe that that's just purely cope to downplay Shanks. The man...
Yeah, that's cope to downplay Shanks 100%.
Anything. He was simply so fast that coming in from miles away, directly in front of him, not from behind, not from anything, and it's not like Kid wasn't...
And you gotta remember, too, this is the guy who was rivaling Mihawk, right? Rivaling him. So if we're saying that they're comparable and we're taking Shanks's feats as terms to his strength, how strong do you think Mihawk is? We haven't seen him do anything like that, right? So are we saying that he can't, or that we just haven't seen him be that? This is what I'm trying to explain, right? Unless, because you have to headcanon and say that Mihawk can't do any of these things in order to raise Shanks' feats above Mihawk. You would have to say he can't. But that doesn't make any sense. How couldn't he? Because he hasn't? Come on, bro. He hasn't needed to.
Ready. He was ready to fire. He was looking directly straight. Shanks was so fast that with a single leap he appeared in front of him, shocked him with his pure speed and one shot. Ready. Kid was ready. He was ready to fire. He was looking directly straight. Shanks was so fast that with a single leap he appeared in front of him, shocked him with his
Did that just repeat?
And one shot him. In my own opinion, I think a lot of the damage comes from Shanks' own attack, and the explosion is nothing more than an aftermath.
Yes, I agree.
That's what Oda is trying to portray. That Shanks is simply this powerful. And Kid is someone who I think is comparable at the very least to a first mate of a Yonko crew like Katakuri and King and an admiral. I'm not saying he's
absolutely
as an admiral. I do believe that an admiral would beat Kid in one-on-one combat. Don't worry, I'm not saying Kid's that strong, but all I'm trying to say is I think Kid is pretty
powerful. He's powerful. He's comparable.
Big Mom in a 2v1. And I have a lot of respect for Big Mom. I know a lot of people downplay her, but I just think that Kid, being compared to Law, who did very well against Blackbeard, who's sort of portrayed as Law's equal, even though I do think Law is somewhat stronger due to his specific hacks and all this stuff.
I agree with that too.
Agree with that I just have Kid being strong. I know a lot of people tend to downplay him because he got one-shot by Shanks, but I'm gonna be honest, if you were to put Law in that situation, and this
same thing would have happened. Yeah.
So if you disagree, that's completely okay. But I think if Law were to get hit by that attack straight on like Kid was, I also think it would one-shot him. Even if there's no...
I agree. And you know what? And here's my thing. I think that if either of them approached, I think that if either of these people, like Law or Kid, approached Mihawk the same way, it would have been even dirtier. That's what I think. I think it would have been even dirtier. Remember what Luffy saw when he tried to approach him at Marineford? He saw a terrible future for him. Man, it was over. He said, oh, never mind.
Punk, I do believe it would just take Law out straight away. Now, you could argue that Law would dodge it, or, you know, he's way faster, he's got the room.
Nope.
Fair enough, that's completely true. I'm only arguing if it hit him dead on, like how it hit Kid.
I don't see him dodging that at all. I ain't gonna lie.
Tank such an attack. The reason I'm saying all of this and I'm hyping Shanks up is because I think Shanks hype is Mihawk hype. I really don't get why people see, wow, Shanks is so powerful. This means that he must be way stronger than Mihawk. As someone who's a die-hard Shanks is the God King fan, me seeing Shanks be this powerful, even stronger than I thought, genuinely makes me believe that Mihawk is even stronger than I believed. And I remember over a decade ago.
And this is funny because with him saying that, it actually reminds me of the idea that Mihawk, like all these upper tiers, are aware of each other and their feats and their strengths, right? So it's like, are we thinking that Mihawk doesn't realize how strong he is? Like Mihawk doesn't realize how strong Shanks is. My fault. Are we acting like he doesn't realize, like we don't think that Mihawk knows he can do divine departure? Or he can do all this other stuff. Like, we're supposed to think that Mihawk is just like, oh, yeah, no, this guy's so trash. He's like, bro, he's aware of that. And he still thinks that he's not worth fighting. He still doesn't think that it's going to be a worthwhile fight because I'm going to get the advantage over you. You only have one arm. You're stronger than these other fighter bums, but I'm not a fighter bum guy. Like, none of these people can mess with me. You have to be a high, top tier guy to mess with Mihawk or Shanks, right? They're like right next to each other in strength. But I got Mihawk right on top of him. Come on, gang.
I was arguing online that Mihawk was as strong as an admiral. Yes, I've been a One Piece fan for a long time. When I was a little kid, that's what I would argue. And a lot of people got very upset saying, no way, Mihawk's only as strong as a first tier Yonko commander.
You know what's crazy? I said the same thing. I said the same thing, bro. I said the same thing.
How can you say he's that strong? He's never going to be as strong as an admiral. I don't know if many of you remember, but at least when I said that online, a lot of the responses I got from the time, hundreds, were all saying that exact same thing, and I got ratioed pretty badly. But of course, it seems as time has passed, it's been shown more and more by Oda that Mihawk is really, really powerful. And the more time passes that we don't truly get to see Mihawk go all out, the more it seems like Mihawk truly is the strongest. There's a lot of anti-feats for Mihawk, such as him clashing evenly with Vista, or him not being able to just insta-blitz kill Luffy, but I think they all have reasons that you can argue for and against, and also do remember that it was from such a long time ago. And mainly, one thing I will say is that...
Listen, the reason why is because he didn't even want to fight Shanks because he doesn't have one arm. Why would he just kill these little dudes that aren't even... Bro, Luffy was Bro. The reason why he was even dealing with Vista was to waste his own time and have some fun. Mihawk did not want to be there. It was a boring day. There was no worthy competition. And then Shanks showed up at the end. He said, man, this boring ass day, I'm out of here. He said, this is a waste of time.
Decided to make an attack during Marineford, it was hyped up by all the characters. I mean, even Boa, who has no interest in anybody, was interested in Mihawk, hyping him up. Everyone was shocked and surprised when Mihawk finally stood up. So it just goes to show you the level that Mihawk is at. And I want to say that Marineford's scaling is all over the place. I mean, if that was the case, you'd have admirals being as strong as second tier Yonko commanders. You'd have Crocodile with no hockey being the same level as Doflamingo, or being comparable to admirals. Like, Marineford just has a lot of strange power scaling, I'll be honest. I mean, some of it is pretty in line, such as the admirals being monsters, to be honest. But one thing I'll say is that we just never saw Mihawk be pushed. Sure, he was clashing with Vista, but so were other admirals clashing with Yonko commanders such as Diamond Jozu, or Marco the Phoenix, or even Ace. Just because you clash with someone doesn't necessarily mean that you're not way stronger than them or you're weaker than them. Granted, it's hard to say that when in the same arc we saw Akainu just go on a tear and push back the entire Yonko commander on his own, even after fighting White.
Thank you.
So the reason why...
Thank you. I don't know why so many people act like this didn't happen. Look at this panel. Akainu said, I'm about to run through all these scrubs and go get that Straw Hat Punk. Kobe had to show up, stop fighting him, let him run.
Have a kind of just being top tier, beside the fact that Oda's made a plethora of statements just wanking this man to oblivion. But other than that fact, I think simply put, Mihawk just didn't have a reason to go all out or serious. I mean, even during his fight with Vista, he was just monologuing in his head, thinking about Luffy. He wasn't even paying attention to the fight. He was, by all means, lost in thought, as if he was fighting on autopilot. Well, it seems like Vista...
Someone with reading comprehension.
Like, let us have the best fight ever. No, Mihawk was on autopilot, man. His mind was far adrift in the clouds. All I'm trying to say is he is someone who has repeatedly been compared to Shanks, who I think is the strongest character, possibly bar Emu and Dragon. And I think that any Shanks hype, any Shanks upscale, I truly believe that this upscales Mihawk as well. Now, I don't think it means that he's stronger than Shanks. I'm not going to say that. I simply believe that since Mihawk is someone who's portrayed to be close to Shanks' level, I think he very likely is just simply very powerful. I do believe he's stronger than Admirals. I know a lot of people say Mihawk is only Admiral level. I honestly believe if you were to pit Mihawk against any Admiral, he would absolutely smoke them. Bar Akainu, of course, since that's my goat. I'm sorry, the Akainu agenda is...
I pretty much agree based on the story, like the characterization of the story. Like, I believe that, like I said earlier, I believe if Kizaru had like a mentality for just I'm gonna just do it, I'm gonna win, I'm gonna kill these people, like whatever it is, I think that there would be nothing Mihawk could do against him. I think that there's not really much anybody could do against him. But since he's so lackadaisical and chill and isn't really about it, I'm pretty sure Mihawk would just fold him up pretty badly too. Same with Aokiji.
Clearly very strong, as you can see. And I also believe that Mihawk would give a good fight to Yonkos such as Big Mom, Kaido, and maybe even Buggy. I know Buggy's stretching it. Buggy is just unbelievably powerful, and he's also the captain.
I think the only person that I think the only Yonko on that list that Mihawk would actually not beat is possibly Kaido. I think he beats Big Mom, I think he beats Shank, and I think he beats Buggy. And I think he beats Luffy.
Mihawk, so of course Mihawk can't be stronger than his captain. That would just be a very stupid statement to say. So if I see even one person say that Mihawk is stronger than Buggy, I would honestly question your One Piece level of scaling. How can he be stronger than the captain? It makes no sense. Now anyway, back to the main point. I think he would be a good matchup against these guys, not necessarily because he's outright stronger, which you could really argue that he is, but mainly the fact that because he is a more lethal character who specializes in speed and mainly attack power, he's got disgusting level of attack power. I think he would be able to bypass the defense of Kaido and Big Mom, which is something that they pride themselves in. I'm not saying this means that he could just outright beat them and it would be an easy fight. Of course, it would be a very difficult fight.
Agree.
And Kaido would take it seriously. Just because you can bypass his defense, such as what Luffy was doing with Advanced Conquerors, doesn't mean you can just beat him right away. He's still incredibly durable. He has high endurance and he's also an ancient zone, making his stamina, durability, endurance, and even his healing factor increase by a lot. But I think he would give either of them a good fight. I know a lot of people would outright say he beats Big Mom because a lot of people underrate Big Mom. That is a topic for a complete...
You know what's funny? And I know I said I think Mihawk beats Big Mom, but it's not even because I underrate Big Mom. It's just sort of like a Kizaru thing where their battle mentality just isn't there. They're not like go for broke, heaven or hell, let's ride. They're not like that for real. They're just really, really strong.
The other day, so I'll ignore.
But yeah, people underestimate Big Mom too much.
Very powerful. Please don't get me wrong. Just because I say Shanks is stronger than Mihawk does not mean I'm downplaying Mihawk. And just because I think Mihawk may be able to beat Kaido doesn't mean that I think Kaido is weak. I think Kaido would smoke any Admiral in one-on-one combat for a completely different video if you want me to talk about it. But Kaido is a beast, a complete monster. And I think Mihawk would have a good chance at beating him. I think it would be a very... I think
Mihawk has one of the best chances of beating Kaido of all the people in a 1v1 of all the people in One Piece world. I think besides like someone like Emu or Dragon or like end of series Gear 5 Luffy or something like that, I think like he's in that tier. I honestly do not believe Shanks can beat Kaido in a 1v1. I don't think he could do it. Like this screen, this little exchange, this clash with Whitebeard. If Shanks was that guy, right? This old dusty fart nigga should have died. He should have got destroyed by this.
Spectacular fight, and it would go on for a while, and no matter who wins, it would be high diff. But if you want to tell me
because wait a minute, because like think about it, when Shanks and Whitebeard clash, they split the sky. In that last little picture we saw when Mihawk did the slash and Luffy dodged it, it sliced that whole iceberg. That's a greater feat than the sky splitting thing. I don't know if you noticed, but the sky, like the cloud splitting and all that, is just water vapor. Mihawk cut icebergs from miles away with a slash by himself. No clash with somebody else. That's way more impressive.
Beat Kaido, I would be on the fence right there. I would say maybe he could. And given the upscaling that we're getting of
high diff, if he could. I think he loses against Kaido, but it would be high diff if he could.
Could you argue that Mihawk could beat Kaido as well if he's comparable to Shanks, who one-shot Kid? I'm not saying Mihawk could one-shot Kid. I'm simply saying that he's close to that level if he were
Mihawk can one-shot Kid.
Serious, such as how Shanks was, where Shanks saw.
Did you see what Mihawk did to that meteor that Zoro couldn't even cut in half? He just get that out of here and then just left. Bro, he destroyed Kid.
Time we go as serious as we can be and blitzed and one-shot Kid. Could Mihawk do the same? I'm not confirming that he can. All I'm saying is it's a possibility.
I'm doubling down on it. I'm confirming it. He can. He can. I'm gonna put my stamp on it. Mihawk could have definitely did that. And you know what? I think Mihawk would have did it in a cleaner way too. I think that it would have been less destruction on like the ship and everything. I think he would have like sliced everything in half.
It's really powerful, so please do not underestimate Mihawk. And also, just to the Shanks fans out there as well, please don't downplay Mihawk just to hype up Shanks. They can both be very powerful. I think regardless of who you have being stronger than the other, we can all agree that they're probably very close in power and they're both very likely at the pinnacle of strength. This is more so because of Shanks than anything. If you think Mihawk is not as strong as Shanks, but he's close to that level, well, Shanks being this powerful upskills Mihawk. And of course, if you think Mihawk is stronger than Shanks for XYZ reasons, such as him being the greatest swordsman, him having no worthy challenges, and you don't agree with my reasoning, which is completely fine. You have to remember, all of this is just interpretation. That's completely fine as well, because the stronger we see Shanks, and if you have Mihawk being stronger than Shanks, well, of course, that's going to upscale Mihawk more. In any such scenario, I think Mihawk is just stronger than we thought initially. Even me, when I was one of Mihawk's biggest upscalers back in the past, let's say 8 years ago or a decade ago, even I think he's stronger than I thought.
8 years or a decade? Oh, okay. See, I'm a bit more seasoned in this. You know what I'm saying? I've been knowing. No, I'm just talking shit.
And of course, comparing Mihawk to other characters such as Luffy, I think Mihawk versus Luffy would be a very good fight. And I think even if you believe Mihawk beats Luffy, which is pretty wild to say, but I do believe that's possible, I think that's okay because Luffy is continuously growing. He only just awakened his Devil Fruit, and more importantly than anything, we saw with Joy Boy's level of Haki, Luffy has a ton of room to grow in the Conqueror's Haki department, since his ceiling most likely is Joy Boy's level. And I think just both in Haki and in Devil Fruit, Luffy has so many levels to climb, which is crazy.
Absolutely.
Because I think Luffy's already so powerful. I think if Luffy were to fight Kaido right now again, I think it would be an extreme diff fight either way. I think if Luffy didn't have that stamina issue, I think he would win, just outright. If he had no stamina issue.
I disagree. I gotta go ahead and disagree with that, only because fight a non going through everything that he was going through Kaido. Yeah, fight a non going through all of that nonsense Kaido 1v1. Yeah, you've gotten stronger, but I was also doing a whole bunch of nonsense back then, bro. I was fighting a whole bunch of people, holding up an island. I keep beating you. You just keep coming back with your horseshit abilities. But if I can just focus on you and not have to do all this other stuff, I think it's a wrap. I think Luffy will eventually actually become stronger than the Kaido that we know and be able to 1v1, like end of series Luffy, Gear 5 Luffy. I believe that. But this, like, Egghead, Elbaf Luffy, no, I don't think he's there. I don't think he's there yet at all. He would still need his team.
Issue that gets me with Luffy. But Akainu, Kaido, Shanks, Luffy, these are all topics for another video on this fresh, brand new channel where we have a ton of videos to make on a ton of characters. So if you did enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe for a ton of One Piece content just like this. Like I said in the intro, a ton of power scaling theory.
And look at Nico! But anyway, yeah, so that was a dope video. I appreciate everything I had to say. Obviously, I disagree with the Shanks versus Mihawk scaling. I think Mihawk is obviously stronger. I said obviously. I think Mihawk is stronger. But yeah, go check out his video. I'll leave the link in the description. Level-headed, obviously knows what he's talking about. We just simply disagree on that power scaling. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later.